If you're not grabbing my attention, I will put you down. I still feel like YA fantasy, there's like this kind of need to be like a bit more edgy. Completing books is not my goal. Hey guys, my name is Steve. This is Heron's Corner. Welcome back to my channel. And today I want to talk about becoming a frequent DNFer. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this for a while now. I do want to say Happy New Year. I know it's criminally late to be saying that, but I haven't created a video and uploaded a video since like the end of 2022, like I think it was October. I noticed this was happening towards like the end of 2022. I'm gonna say like the fall, like I'm American, autumn. It's very frustrating, you know what I mean? Like I know DNFing seems like you're giving up on a book, but you also, to give up on a book, you actually had to like put faith in a book. Some of those books that I was putting down, it's just because I wasn't in like the brain capacity to be reading. And I guess like that is an undercurrent thing like when it came to my reading at the end of 2022. But other books, I was just putting them down because they weren't grabbing my attention. And I was like, do you know what I mean? A lot of questions go into your head like, are my standards too high? Have books just become worse? I hate when people say that, to be honest. I did managed to finish a couple by towards the end of the year, some of them really great books as well, but it just wasn't happening on a consistent basis. Something just wasn't connected like with me and books. Like though I just had a very weird relationship with books towards the end of the year. But I think in 2023 I'm going to just like embrace being a DNFer. And seriously guys, like if a book is not grabbing my attention within like I say okay in the first chapter, but really it's within like the first couple of pages. When I think about the books I really enjoy, let's say, they've always been good from the get-go, like and I understand like giving books a chance and like just trying to like slowly go your way into it. And that doesn't mean like I need an action scene or something shocking to happen in the first page. It just means like I've really kind of learned like it's either the writing gets you or it doesn't get you, and like that is going to be the writing throughout most of the book. So if you don't like the writing, or if you're not gelling with the writing in the first page, if you're not liking the writing style or the storytelling, are you going to enjoy it for the rest of the book? Like you most likely will not. I feel so cruel when I pick up a book and it's like, this isn't grabbing my attention within the first 2 pages, like I have to just let it go. But also like there's like so many books I need to read. Like do not firstly take notice of like the mess behind me. I have so many books I need to read that I have to be cruel. I have to be cruel to actually get to the books that I'm going to love, I'm going to enjoy so much. And I know like this has always been like, you know, the book street mantra, like it's not about how many books you read, but it's just about like, you know, the quality of books. Like I would hate to get through like hundreds of books in a year and I only truly love 5 of those books. Well, I would rather just read 10 books and love them completely. No shade to people who fast read, by the way, that comment isn't towards you people, like, you know what I mean, fast readers are like absolutely brilliant. I wish I was a fast reader. But it's basically to say that I am DNFing books very liberally during 2023. If you are not grabbing my attention on the first page, I'll stretch you to a chapter or 2. If you're not grabbing my attention, I will put you down, because I would rather read 1 book every 2 months and absolutely adore that book than read 5 books in a month and not adore any of them. But I'm looking for the golden book, and maybe that's a problem I give myself. Like I'm looking for like this perfect book, but I know that perfect books exist, you know, perfect in its subjective term, but like I know perfect books exist. Like when I was reading Franny Lantern from the get-go, I knew I was going to love that book. So do you know what I mean? Is that like a fairy tale? When I was reading Vagabonds by Adekosa Sunday, like I knew that was going to be a brilliant book. So I know I'm not looking for a unicorn, but I just know that those books are sometimes few and far in between, and that's fine. But I'd just rather pursue books like that than, you know, go through a well-written but not, you know, for me kind of book and get to a book just to say, oh, I've completed a book. Like completing books is not my goal in 2023. It's not my MO. It's not the thing that I really want to be doing. I just want to be completing good books, or books that I love. I want to be completing books that I love. My storytelling tastes have been refined, and that's come from like other types of media that I've been watching or listening to, and just hearing other perspectives when it comes to like storytelling in general. I know I talk about on this channel a lot. I love reading mother-daughter relationships like in books, and I love reading coming of age stories. That kind of a like of mine has been refined down to I want to read heroine stories, and that's I use the word heroine not in a fantastical sense, like it doesn't have to be a fantasy story, but I am looking for that journey. I'm looking for that transformation. I'm looking for escapism, like, and I mean like pure escapism. I feel like YA fantasy has been a really weird genre for me at the moment. Like, if you guys have just like YA fantasy, I don't want to say fluffy, but just like, maybe I'm looking for a gap in the market at the moment where it's more younger YA than older YA. Maybe I shouldn't be pursuing older YA because it still has this kind of edge, but it's not always necessary. Like, I feel like sometimes you can have a fun adventure story with characters that are older YA. As you can see, I'm still trying to break down what I'm truly looking for in that genre, because I know it's something that I'm not seeing in fantasy, like in, you know, adult fantasy. So I'm trying to look for in YA, but maybe I should look in the adult fantasy genre a bit more. But yeah, like, just my tastes have really become refined, and I'm hungry for a good story. I just want like to read something that's like, oh my god, like it's the greatest book ever. The last book I read that I really loved, I'll talk about in my top books of 2022. But you know, my top books of 2022 is going to look very similar to my top to the midway point I did for 2022, like my books I've read in 2022 so far. But maybe I'll have a bit more refined thoughts like in the actual like top books of 2022 video, and I really want to do it just for record sake when I like look back on this channel. I'm really utilizing like kind of previews that you can get on like the ebook store and stuff like that. Like, I like, when it comes to buying books, which is an expensive hobby these days, like guys, the price of books is like, oh my gosh, like what the hell. I'll give you an example of a book that I kind of I don't want to say researched extensively, but like I read that preview all the way to the end before I bought this book, and that is The Daughter of Dr. Maru by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Probably butchered that. Anyway, I really wanted to buy a book, and all the books that I was kind of coming across and like reading their previews, it just wasn't like within their preview, I was not lost investor, I was not engaged investor or whatever. And this book and another book I can't remember right now, it's not really behind me, were like, you know, one of like 3 books that I was like, oh, it actually grabbed my attention, and I'm looking forward to reading this because I know throughout the first couple of pages that I like the writing style. I've never read a Garcia book before, so I didn't know if I was going to gel with her writing style, but reading the first few pages, I knew that I was going to gel with the writing style, so I'm happy to finish it. You know what I mean? Like, I know this is going to be a book that I at least enjoy reading. And then there's other books I'm not really going to talk about because I'm trying not to be too negative on my channel coming into 2023. I kind of just want to talk about the books that I really enjoy. But like there are a couple of books I started, and these are like hyped, insanely hyped books. That's another video. But guys, I am not following the hype. I am not following the hype for books, because I swear, like, I find the most amazing books that are not like highly publicized or like talked about, and they're like my favorite books. Like, I mean, I guess this comes like without saying, like, a lot of just like black books in general, they're not like in a general context, when we're not just talking about black books, they're not like as hyped as like some white authors essentially, and I find that they're always like the most amazing books like half of the time. Anyway, I started reading some of these books, and these are like the most hyped books ever, and I'm like, how are y'all reading I don't want to question anyone's reading this, but sometimes I think like you guys really have the stamina to be reading some of these books, because I'm like, how long are you guys waiting for something to pick up, for something to click? Like, it's just so subjective, and like it really gets my head spinning. Like, why is this book not just working for me? And I think being in publishing, I've really kind of tried to understand what makes a book work for me and what doesn't. But yeah, I feel like this is a rambly video, but that's my channel. I ramble. I think towards the end of 2022, it's something that I don't want to say ashamed, because like, how weird is it to be ashamed of like DNFing a book? But I guess I was. Like, I guess I was a bit ashamed about, you know, not completing books. Like, I think that was the thing. I just wasn't completing as many books as I wanted to. And you know what I mean? And it wasn't even that I was like a slow reader, because that's something that no one should be ashamed about ever. It was just the case that I wasn't completing books. I wasn't just finishing a book. And it was something that I was just really like, oh, I can't just finish a damn book, you know what I mean? But now I'm just like, if I can't finish a book, that is absolutely fine. Your book's not for me, and I can move on, do you know what I mean? And I feel like DNFing, it's a frustrating process, but also I need to kind of just see it as a next step towards my golden book, you know what I mean? And maybe I'll do a different video about like what my golden book is, but what my perfect book is. But yeah, that's all I really want to say. And also the lighting is just like gone hella dark for some reason. It looks like it's going to rain, but it wasn't forecast to rain. So I'm going to wrap this video up now. And yeah, please let me know down below about your relationship with like DNFing, essentially. Do you frequently DNF? Like, do you not DNF at all? Like, what's that? Like, what's your cutoff point? Because I found for me, it's now, if I cannot connect to your writing in like less than the first chapter, I'm moving on. Like, I do not have the time. And sometimes you have to think about it, like, but like, you actually just don't have time to be like doing stuff. Like, you don't have the time to be going through a whole book. Like, oh, but that makes me excited, you know, because it actually means like, hopefully, that I'll just be reading books I really like. And though it's an exhausting process to actually get to those books, I'm still getting to those books, hopefully, maybe. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now, so please remember to follow me on Twitter again, and I'll see you guys soon on another video soon. I'm in the mood to be perceived again.